do you know what that means? That means it's time for the best horror movies of 2025, or my top 10 favorite horror movies of 2025. In my humble opinion, of course. I don't know if it's humble though. I hope that you all had fantastic holidays, and now that the year is coming to an end, it is time to talk about the best horror movies of the year. I have considered doing a top 10 worst movies for this year. I will say that there have been plenty of disappointing choices for this year. I mean, I'll just say, you're not gonna find the worlds in my top 10 best films. How did that film happen? How? I love Ava Longoria. How did that movie happen, y'all? It's a tragedy. War of the Worlds. What the fuck? These are just my opinions. I'm sure you have your own fabulous, wonderful opinions out there, and that's great. Awesome. I did see many or most of the big films that were released this year. I mean, it is possible that if you think something was a stellar standout, it's just that I did not see it. It's totally possible. I will tell you that I did not see Good Boy. I am just telling you that up front. So if that's one of the ones that you throw at me, I haven't seen it. I'm not going to see it. I don't want to see it. I lost 2 of my dogs this year. My first was Mulder. And then I have already lived through grief through the eyes of a dog when my other dog just keeled over and died less than 30 days later. Now I still have one dog left, and I did get a cat, Mavis. Realized how much I loved Mavis. She's fabulous and wonderful, and yeah, I may have gotten a second cat, and I got another Maine Coon. This is Victra. Say hi, Victra, hi. Hi. She's precious. I love her, and she's a great companion for Mavis. I have heard so many people talk about how fabulous 2025 has been for horror, and I agree for the most part. There have been some really, really great films that have come out. I also feel like, overall the year has been pretty good. I think we've definitely had better years in the past. Overall, though, I feel like it felt a little lackluster. Something was missing, but I could see how people thought that this was an epic year for horror because there was a lot of films that came into the theater that were horror, which is phenomenal, and they were all pretty good. I mean, there's a lot of pretty good films. There just weren't a lot of great standouts to me this year. That's just me. Some of it was just overhyped. Some of it just didn't hit me the same way. We all experience horror through a subjective lens, and my lens this year was a little clouded. I am not going to spoil any of these films for you, so if you want to see them, you can still go and see them. I'm just going to give you a brief synopsis, tell you the directors, the actors, and a little bit about why I liked the film. I will also list them all down below, so if you are interested in seeing these, you can look them up for yourself. I will also list where you can stream the movie, if you can stream it right now, so you can check it out for yourself and determine if you like it or you don't. Totally disagree with me. That's cool too. You don't have to agree with me. I mean, I don't care. This is in order from my 10th favorite horror movie to my number 1 favorite horror movie of 2025. I should also mention, to be included in the 2025, the film needs to have been given a streaming or theatrical release, wide release in the United States. So some of these movies were made earlier, maybe shown at Film Fest, but not released to the public until this year. Just so we're clear. Some of them might say 2023 when you look them up. You couldn't have watched it unless you went to film festivals, so that is just not going to count till it came out this year. Just like in the past few years, I'm going to have a couple of honorable mentions. These might actually surprise you because I think that maybe my honorable mentions might be much higher on other people's lists. But my first honorable mention is Weapons, directed by Zach Cregger. It stars Josh Brolin, Julia Gardner, and Amy Madigan. I know practically everyone has seen Weapons, and practically everyone that has seen it screams its praises from the mountaintops. And as you know, it is about a classroom of children that go missing in the middle of the night in a small town, and specifically out of one teacher's class. One lone boy remains. The story revolves mainly around the teacher and her experience through this, because she's kind of accused of having something to do with the children's disappearance. It is a supernatural horror film, which are some of my favorites. Now look, I want you to know I really, really did like this film. I will say that I think that the reason why this film isn't higher on my list is because it was a victim of overhype. I did not see this right when it came out. I didn't have the time. I can't remember what was happening at the time. Maybe it was like Dragon Con or something. I'm not sure. I don't know what was happening at the time, but I was busy. And by the time I did see it, I'd heard so much about it that, quite honestly, it just could not live up to what I heard. Kind of the same way with Longlegs. I was so excited and was like, oh, it's okay. It just wasn't as great as I thought that it would be. It's so unfortunate when you see all these reviews and you're like, this is gonna be fantastic because of the way someone talks about it, and then it's not as good. I try to be mindful of that and temper expectations going into a film, because I think that is what does a film justice, so that you don't think that it's going to be as amazing as it is or may not be. But I did really love this film. That's why it's still an honorable mention on my list. Weapons is streaming on HBO Max. My second honorable mention is Strange Harvest. Directed by Stuart Ortiz. It stars Peter Zizzo, Terry Apple, and Andy Lauer. Strange Harvest is a horror crime scene mockumentary, found footage style film, and definitely low budget, but I really enjoyed this one. I think it was a very well-made film. I think they did an incredible job of copying the true crime documentaries that we see. I mean, it's fantastic in that regard. I really think they did a fantastic, stellar job with that. I like the killer that they introduced. It's mainly told from the perspective of two detectives who worked on or solved the case here, and how they tracked down their killer. And then of course they talk about, you know, the kills and the crime scene. There was some weird supernatural kind of cosmic Lovecraftian sort of thing happening here. There were a lot of horror references to it as well, yourself. And it was tongue-in-cheek, but it wasn't done in any sort of campy way. And I liked it. I liked the detectives as well. Strange Harvest is streaming on Hulu. And now to my top 10 list. Starting out at number 10, we have The Toxic Avenger. Directed by Macon Blair, it stars Peter Dinklage, Kevin Bacon, and Elijah Wood. This is a reboot of the 1984 cult classic, obviously, and I will say that I loved it. I thought this movie was fantastic. Honestly, this movie was completed, I believe, in 2023. I think that it went to some film fests, but did not get a release until August, I believe, of this year. And oh my gosh, I'm so glad they actually did release it, because I know that it was very difficult because they didn't know if it had a place anywhere. What's crazy about it is when it came out, I didn't even know. I did not hear anything about it. I didn't know anything about it. I actually didn't get to watch this until more recently. This is definitely an updated Toxic Avenger. It is not nearly as sleazy or as raunchy as the original. There is plenty of good gore though, and plenty of good jokes. They, of course, have homages to the first film, and Peter Dinklage still plays a janitor, as in the first film, who gets caught up in some bad stuff with some, villains, and turns into Toxie. The special effects on Toxie look really good. I did not mind them at all. There's a lot of gore. There is some CGI here, which, okay, I mean, it's expensive. I do wish they had just tried to go practical, even if it was gonna be super bad practical, because I think that would work for this film. But I get it. Elijah Wood, his makeup was, he was actually kind of precious, oddly enough. Seemed kind of sweet. Well, he was kind of sweet. Well, no, he's not. He's a villain, but he's kind of sweet. It's confusing. I'm conflicted about that. My feelings are complicated. It's remarkably toned down, though, for a Toxic Avenger film. If you liked the original, then you may or you may not like this one. I mean, it doesn't have the nudity of the first, and it doesn't have some of the more risque or exploitative things in the first one. I mean, it is not like all the other trauma films. Trauma gets crazy, oh, crazy. I do think that Elijah Wood was my favorite part about the film. He's very funny. This one is definitely like one of those, you know, feel-good horror films coming from the heart, which I can get behind. I'm totally fine with that. It's not completely off-the-wall bonkers crazy. It stayed remarkably grounded for me. I think that if they had gone totally bonkers, it probably would have been at the top of my list. But because it's played a little bit more safe, I loved it still. I just didn't love it as much as I probably would have. I do believe that the only way I was able to watch it was with the rated version, so I'm sure the unrated would be superior in every regard, but I still really liked the film and totally recommend it. It's on video on demand services. For number 9, I have Influencers, directed by Curtis David Harder. It stars Cassandra Nod, Emily Tennant, and Veronica Long. This is a sequel to 2023's Influencer, which was actually on my top 10 for that year as well. And it is a social media influencer slasher. Cassandra is back as CW, and she is kind of taking a step back from her influencer ways, I guess, and she is kind of settled down, and yet something happens to reignite her passion for killing, I guess is what I would say here. She really has a problem with influencers. This film was great. It was beautifully shot. The acting is amazing. Cassandra is so good. They always shoot in a beautiful location, and this was no exception. It was absolutely stunningly gorgeous. Cinematography was perfection, and this movie was very similar and a nice compliment to the first one, but it took it up a notch and it went crazier. There was a point where it almost crossed into getting a little campy, but it just like kind of teetered on that edge, and it didn't go full camp, and I'm kind of glad they didn't, because what I liked about the first one was it was pretty grounded. And then this one is as well. It just really gets wild and crazy. It did get crazier. I think that these films are fantastic. I would gladly see another one of these films. If you are interested in watching Influencers and Influencer as well, they are both streaming on Shudder. For number 8, I have Companion, directed by Drew Hancock. It stars Jack Quaid and Sophie Thatcher. This is a sci-fi film. I can't tell you too much about this film without giving away quite a bit, but basically some friends go away on a weekend getaway, vacation, and things get wild and crazy. Some people have some, you know, agendas and things they want to do. I think it's best to go into this film without watching anything, no trailers, nothing like that. You don't want to see anything that will give some of this away. I didn't really know anything going in, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought that the acting was amazing. I think that the story was wild and crazy and sad. It did have quite a bit of gore. I think that the characters were really thought out and well written. I did love the way this movie ended. Companion is streaming on HBO Max. For number 7, I have Together, directed by Michael Shanks. It stars Dave Franco and Allison Brie. This is a body horror, which is some of my very, very, very favorite. I could have totally used more body horror in this, but it was fun. Totally gave me enough. It was enough for me. I enjoyed it. I liked it. It's on my list, you know. It is about a couple and their relationship and almost seemingly whether they're going to break up or come together, how they're establishing change within their relationship and the community that they move to. It's definitely a weird one. It's wild. It really is a character study, and they're both kind of sad people. This film goes into that codependency area, and like I said, there is body horror here. There is some folk horror type stuff that happens here too as well, and I liked all the characters. I liked the actors. I thought the ending was wild. Together is on video on demand. For number 6, there is Del Toro's Frankenstein, directed by Guillermo del Toro. It stars Oscar Isaac, Jacob Elordi, and Mia Goth. Once again, we have a fresh retelling of Frankenstein and done in Del Toro style. It focuses on Victor, the creator of the creature. Of course, we delve into should he, shouldn't he? It's a Gothic masterpiece. It is shot very beautifully. The costuming is just absolutely gorgeous. I love the characters and their development. I love that the creature is more like in the book where he can speak. The story itself is actually, again, of course, very sad. I did love the ending. I thought it was really beautiful and, you know, pretty poignant. If you would like to see Frankenstein, it is streaming on Netflix. For number 5, we have The Ugly Stepsister, directed by Emil Blichfield. It stars Leah Mirren, Thea Sophie Locknace, and Andal Torp. I apologize. This is a Norwegian film and I butchered those names, so I greatly apologize. This one also is subtitled, so if you don't like subtitles, then this probably isn't the film that you were looking for, but get over the subtitles because the film is fantastic and I think you definitely need to see it and check it out. Another retelling of the Cinderella story. Yes, I know we've had a lot of those films that have been made and most of them are maybe okay, maybe not so great. Honestly, some of them I actually kind of liked. I didn't think Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare was bad, and that came out this year. Very disturbing and sad. Very disturbing and sad, but not bad. But this is definitely one of my favorites, for sure, from those reimaginations of those stories. It is, without a doubt, a body horror. And it follows the ugly stepsister into her journey to try to make herself more attractive and the lengths that she would go to be more attractive and to make the prince fall in love with her and to marry him. Of course, pokes fun at, you know, beauty standards, which I love. It doesn't go into the body horror aspect like The Substance does, so you're not gonna get anything that wild or that crazy, but the things that they do to themselves are absolutely disturbing. It is acted incredibly well. It is shot really well. I really, really enjoyed this film. To be completely honest with you, when I turned it on, I was like, I don't know what to expect. And then I just found myself riveted by this one. And I did love the gore. It's definitely one that I would recommend checking out. If you want to check out The Ugly Stepsister, it is streaming on Shudder. For number 4, I have Black Phone 2. Directed by Scott Derrickson, it stars Mason Thames, Madeline McGraw, and Ethan Hawke. This is the sequel to the original Black Phone. It is set 4 years later, and Finn and Gwen are dealing with the PTSD and trauma from, you know, confronting the grabber. They start having nightmares and dreams. This is a supernatural horror, and it flows into, you know, a Nightmare on Elm Street type of territory, and it is very cold. It is a fantastic film. I truly, truly, truly loved this movie. I did a review about it. You're welcome to check that that out. I just think it was shot well. I loved the story. I loved where they went with this. I think they hit so many good elements with this film. I actually liked this one more than the first one, and that's shocking and crazy. It just felt fun, but it didn't go too far. It just stayed right on the line and really worked for me. Black Phone 2 is on video on demand. We're down to the top 3 now. And at my number 3 spot, we have Final Destination Bloodlines, directed by Zach Lipovsky and Adam Stein. It stars Caitlin Santawana, Teo Briones, and Richard Harmon. The most recent addition to the Final Destination franchise, and oh my gosh, I did a review on this. If you want to, you're welcome to see it. I freaking loved this movie. I did see it in the theater. I thought it was so funny and so much fun, and it goes off the rails in the best way possible, and the kills are super fun and over the top, and I loved the way and the direction that they took the story in. You know, some people got what they deserved. There was Tony Todd's farewell, and that was very touching. And yeah, this film was fantastic in my mind. I loved how crazy it got and how funny. It managed to shock me, and that's a little bit surprising. They brought in some new rules to, you know, the game of death, as it would be. I've always really kind of liked the Final Destination franchise. Some of the films were better than others, of course, but this is probably my favorite. And the first 2 are super good as well. I highly recommend it. I think it's super fun. Final Destination Bloodlines is streaming on HBO Max. Man, HBO Max has a lot of good horror movies on it. There's only 2 more left. So for number 2, we have Bring Her Back, directed by Danny and Michael Philippou. It stars Sally Hawkins, Billy Barrett, and Sora Wong. This is another A24 film from the Rocca brothers. I shouldn't call them that because they're the Philippou brothers, and they are fantastic filmmakers. If you are familiar with them, they made the film Talk to Me About the Hand. I mean, how could you forget? It was on my top 10 for that year. It is a fantastic film. This is their second film. While not associated with that film, it really does feel like these two could exist in the same world or universe. This one is about a mother who is dealing with grief and the loss of her child, and 2 siblings who have also been dealing with loss, and she takes them in, and what happens and transpires from there. And it's crazy. There is a ton of dread in this film. I loved Talk to Me. I think I actually preferred Talk to Me only because it had a little bit of a lighter tone than this one. This one is just sad and dark, but I loved it too, just in a different way. I really felt for, quite frankly, all the characters. It was shot beautifully, acted just phenomenally well. This whole thing deals with how far someone is willing to go to not have to feel grief anymore, or not deal with grief. And I get it. Grief sucks. Death sucks. This is a heart-wrenching one. I don't know that this is for everybody, but I will probably watch everything that these guys come out with because I think they just totally get horror. Yeah, they're killing it. I can't wait to see what the next one is. If you would like to watch Bring Her Back, which I do recommend, if you can handle that sort of subject matter, then you can watch it on HBO Max. Again, see, HBO. What the hecka? And we are down to my number 1 favorite horror film of 2025. This was a no-brainer. There was no question in my mind that this was my favorite horror movie of the year, and it is Sinners, of course. Directed by Ryan Coogler, it stars Michael B. Jordan in dual roles, Haley Steinfeld, and Jack O'Connell. This is about 2 twin brothers played by Michael B. Jordan in both roles, obviously, and they come to town to start a new business and a new life. and what they encounter in this small town. This film is magical and fun and crazy and beautiful. I mean, everything about this film is top notch. It is a vampire film, which I freaking loved. I didn't know anything about this movie going in. I had no clue, and I came out with just the biggest smile on my face. I loved it so very, very, very much. It is a Southern Gothic type horror film, and it is partially a musical. Crazy enough? Yeah, I know. Sounds wild, right? It is just very entertaining. All of the acting is stellar, top notch. I mean, the costume, the wardrobe, the scenery, I mean, everything about it just feels so natural and so good. And it's really wonderfully written. And oh my God, there is an after credits or mid credits scene. I can't remember if it's mid or at the end. And oh my God, it was so fun. Oh my God, so funny. It's like got this like kid and play like in this sweater. Oh my God, I want that sweater. Totally want a sweater like that. I love that crazy like 80s like neon stuff. It's super awesome. So yeah, it's a good film. It's fantastic. It's wonderful. I totally think you should see it. What a shock here. Guess where Sinners is streaming? HBO Max. So there's my list of my top 10 horror movies of 2025, and 2025 is now gone. And so now we're moving into 2026. Ooh, I can't wait to see. I will probably do a most anticipated for 2026 list. It's interesting because some of the films that I had anticipated before maybe didn't even still come out yet, which is wild and crazy. But I hope that 2026 is even better than 2025. I think it could be. Is there anything that you would have added to this list? What are your favorite horror films of 2025? And what horror films are you looking forward to for 2026? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, I really do hope that you have the most amazing day, my spooky darlings. I would like to thank my Patreon members for your support. Thank you so very, very much. I love you dearly. You are wonderful and awesome. Happy freaking New Year. I'm tired, okay? It's 11:22. In 38 minutes, it's going to be the New Year. Yay! It's really not that big of a deal. I'm pretty boring. I just stay at home most of the time. It's my favorite thing to do is to stay at home. Super exciting. So much fun.